We're going to work on adding duration to our sit. You would add duration to any posture the same way. So we start with a high rate of reinforcement if the dog is in position they're getting fed, and if the dog comes out of the position, we just release them. So the only downside of leaving position is no more reinforcement. And this is how we build interest in holding position. It's really about muscle memory. So we're not going to use anything like stay here. We're not telling the dogs they have to do it. We want them to want to do it. A lot of dogs don't have core strength yet, so they haven't built up that muscle memory, and so holding position is actually uncomfortable. If you have a dog who has any sort of hip or knee problems, I'm going to ask that you do this in a standing position. So you're going to feed your dog. You can say stand while they're standing and start feeding them and then release them. We don't make dogs hold sits if we know it's going to hurt them. It's completely unfair. So I'm going to start with Rosa. She's not great at this. She doesn't know anything about it. I just pulled her out of her kennel. I might toss food after I say okay the first few times, just so she gets to leave position, so she understands to leave position. I don't pair okay with food forever. I really want reinforcement to be happening when the behavior is happening, but tossing food to get dogs out of position is a great idea. We do it all the time, and it just gives the dog a good reset. Sit. Yes. Okay, so she got up. All she does is we end that one. I'm gonna move a little bit so she comes potentially off the mat. I mean, the likelihood that there's a little bit of cheese on the mat's pretty good. Sit. Yes. 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 Okay. So while she was sitting, food was happening. If I had a thought that she was going to get up, I would preemptively release her. If something happened in the environment which would likely cause her to get up, I would also release her. So I can release her preemptively to keep her being successful. Let's move this bear. Sit. Yes. Yes. You might want to have your hand loaded. Yes. So you don't have any delay just because, yes, you're getting reinforcement. Okay. If you have a dog who is super foodie, having food in your hand might be a problem. So you might put the food in your hand and hold it behind your back and then mark and reinforce that way. She's been doing really great with no delay, so I'm going to add a 1 Mississippi delay. Sit. Yes. 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 Okay, good girl. Now I'm going to start to say, okay, pause, and then move off as my release. So adding that 1 Mississippi between rewards starts to delay the reinforcement, and I get more sitting per reward. So I'm going to probably keep that rate of 1 Mississippi for a couple reps before I move to 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi between reinforcements. So I'm incrementally adding a delay or space between rewards. I would do this even with a dog that had been told historically to stay. So if you typically say stay, you might be surprised that you need to start at an earlier version of this, because without being kind of told, or the fear is that it comes off as admonishment, like I told you to do that, you're gonna get in trouble if you don't. And across the board, we want dogs feeling really good about all of this. So we don't really use that technique, and we avoid things that might come across that way to the dog, so they can implicitly appreciate what the exercise is, the value of doing it, the difference between being on and off. That's where we're gonna get the most benefit.